You're listening to the Culips English podcast. To download the study guide for this episode, which includes the transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations, real-world examples, and a quiz, visit our website, culips.com. CULIPS.com. Hey everybody, my name is Andrew.
And my name is Morag.
And you're listening to Culips. Hey there, Morag.
Hey Andrew, what's new?
Morag, I did something really stupid last week, and I'm paying the price for it now.
Oh no, what happened?
Do you know what screen baseball is?
No.
Okay. I thought this might be something that is just here in Korea. Maybe it's in other Asian countries too, but as far as I know, we don't have screen baseball in Canada. But what it is a really fun game. It's like half video game, half batting cage. So there's a big screen and you go and you hold a real baseball bat. You stand in front of the screen, and on the screen, a video game like looking pitcher throws the ball, but then out of the screen, a real ball comes.
Whoa.
And you got to hit it. You got to hit it. And it's actually super fun. I'm not a massive baseball fan, but this game was really fun because you play with your friends. You make teams. And just like a real baseball game, you have to wait in the quote unquote dugout, which is really just a row of seats, until it's your turn to bat. But like I said, because I'm not a very good baseball player, I wasn't very good at hitting the ball, and I struck out several times. And after striking out, probably for the fourth or the fifth time, I got a little frustrated. And I kind of threw my bat, but it awkwardly bounced off the ground and hit me in the leg. and as our listeners might know, I have a standing desk, so I'm standing right now, and my shin is sore because of this stupid mistake.
Oh. Well, yeah, those sorts of games can be quite dangerous.
Yeah, really dangerous.
I had a friend who broke her hand on a punching game.
A punching game? Oh!
Yeah.
Morag, you wouldn't believe the amount of students that come into my classes on Monday morning with a cast on their arm or on their foot. And I say, "What happened to you?" And they tell me, "Oh, on the weekend I got a little drunk and I went to the arcade and I hit the punching machine too hard."
I'm going to tell my friend, and I think she'll feel a lot better because that's not so common here in Canada.
Anyway, Morag, we're not here today to talk about stupid mistakes that I've made. Although that might be a good idea for an episode because there is a long list of stupid mistakes I've made in the past. But anyway, today we are going to continue our discussion about our summer vacations when we were kids. And last time, in the last Simplified Speech episode, we talked about camping. We used to camp, right? With our parents and grandparents. Mm-hmm. Today, we're going to talk about a different kind of camping experience that we both had, and that is going to a summer camp. But just before we start talking about that, I'd like to remind all of you lovely listeners that there is a study guide for this episode, and you can download it from our website, culips.com. So go check out the study guide. Okay, Morag, maybe we should start by defining what kind of summer camp we're talking about. Do you mind giving us the rundown?
Well, there's actually a couple of different types of summer camps, and they are more or less common in different parts of the country. So here in Quebec and also in Ontario, the most common type of summer camp, it is the type that you might be familiar with from American TV and movies, the type where kids go and stay in a different location, in a camp where there's just a bunch of kids and camp counselors to look after them, and they're usually a bit further into the country, and they stay there for sometimes the whole summer. Was that the sort of camp that you went to, Andrew?
Yeah, that's exactly the type of camp that I went to, although I only stayed there for a week at a time, maybe 2 weeks maximum. It wasn't a whole summer.
I think that the whole summer thing is very much more common in Ontario and Quebec, whereas in BC we tend to have like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, but similar idea.
Depends how bad your parents want to take a break.
Yeah, no kidding. But then there's the sort of camp that I went to.
Okay, and what was that?
Those are, well, there's two types of those too. They're day camps. So I would either go to, say, like the YMCA or some other sort of like community organization, and you would just go get dropped off in the morning and you'd go do activities. So I went to a horse riding camp for a week. So every day we would go on a bus and get taken to a stables, and we would learn how to ride horses and come back, and at the end of the day get picked up by our parents. Or there's also some that are kind of in the middle, where it's like you go to a park, just a regular park in the city, and you will have camp counselors there. But it's the same thing where you get dropped off in the morning by your parents and get picked up sort of around the same time as like regular school.
Right. Yeah, the day camp. Actually, now that you mention it, I remember attending day camps as well. I went to a hockey day camp. So my parents would drop me off at the rink in the morning, and I'd practice hockey all day and then go home at night.
They were actually pretty fun. I remember getting to try some pretty interesting activities. Like horse riding was one of them. I remember doing, I think it was some like canoeing and hiking and a bunch of outdoor activities. There's also, I think there was one that was like craft oriented or something. Oh, this is really going deep. This is back in the memory banks.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember going to summer camp, and this is the first type of camp that we talked about, the one where I would stay there for a week. And I remember it being kind of an empowering thing, because it was really one of the first times that I was away from my parents for an extended period of time. So it's kind of scary at first, but once you adjust to it, it's pretty fun. Just like I mentioned in the last episode, when I went camping with my family, I would make friends for a week, and we'd be best friends for a week, and then I'd never see those kids again. And it was kind of like that at summer camp, except I would see them again the next year. So you'd make these friendships, they'd be really intense, and then you wouldn't see that person for a year, and then you'd meet them again at summer camp. So that was kind of fun. And where I grew up in Kelowna, there's a huge lake in the middle of the valley that Kelowna is situated in. And so the summer camp that I used to go to had a lot of different water activities, like water skiing, tubing, of course, swimming. And there was also this thing called the blob. Do you know what the blob is?
I am not familiar with the blob.
Okay. There might be an official name for it, but at the summer camp I went to, it was just called the blob. And so you can imagine a summer camp that's situated on a lake, okay? And there are 3 docks that surround a swimming area that is kind of mapped out on the lake. And off of one of these docks, there is a high dive, okay? A high diving board. So you have to climb up a ladder in order to jump off this diving board. And under the diving board, there's a huge air mattress. I don't even want to call it a mattress. It's more like a huge airbag. So what you do on the blob is one kid would swim out and sit at the edge of this airbag, okay? And then another kid would climb up and jump off the high dive onto the airbag. And the effect would be that the student or the kid that was sitting at the edge of the airbag would get launched into the air and just go flying through the air and then land in the lake. And this was a really fun thing to do, but also super terrifying. And I remember seeing a lot of kids get injured on the blob.
That sounds like something you couldn't have anymore.
Yeah, I think it's probably disappeared.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
I remember one of the camp counselors was a guy that was quite overweight. He was a fat guy. And they took one of the smallest kids in the camp and put her on the edge of the blob. And then this guy jumped and she went flying. She was launched into the air so far and so high. And I remember that being a real terrifying, traumatic thing. And I was a small kid too, so I was hoping that they wouldn't do that to me.
Oh my gosh.
It looked painful. And yeah, I think these days you'd have a lawsuit on your hands before you knew it if you were the camp. So this thing's probably disappeared from modern camps.
Although it does sound kind of amazing. Like, I think as an adult, I would probably take a turn on the blob.
Yeah, these days, if you're grown up and want to do it, hey, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Morag, is there anything else that stands out in your memory from your time at a day camp or a summer camp?
I just remember a lot of bee stings and sunscreen and water balloons. You know, just
water balloon fights.
Yeah, water balloon fights were pretty great. Watching slightly bad movies like Cool Runnings. I remember that.
Well, it's funny that you mention movies because summer camp is kind of a theme of many comedy movies. Not so much these days, but back in the 90s, I remember there being lots of different camp movies.
There are also a good number of horror movies set in summer camps. So it's definitely in the North American imagination is this idea of like coming of age, summer camp, figuring stuff out as a kid or teenager. There's a lot of movies like that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, Morag, I think we'll wrap it up here. We'll leave it at this for today, but thanks for sharing your summer camp experiences with us all.
And thank you for enlightening me about the blob.
Once again, everyone, we have a study guide available for this episode, and to access it, all you have to do is visit our website, culips.com, sign up, and become a Culips member, and it's yours. So if you would like more information about what's in the study guide, or if you would like to try some free samples of our study guides, just visit culips.com and you can get all the info that you need to know. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter, so if you use those social media sites, you can find us there. And if you'd like to send us an email, just send one to contact@culips.com, contact@culips.com. We will be back soon with another brand new Culips episode, and we'll talk to you then. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Do you like listening to Culips? If so, please show your support by leaving Culips a 5-star rating and a review on iTunes or Stitcher. This helps new listeners find the show. So don't delay. Rate and review today.